says the sword should be bathed in heaven. So the nuclear missiles come out the silos, and then they go up into space, so they could avoid, you know, defense missiles and stuff like that. They go up into space, so they're bathed in heaven, and then they come back down and hit their target. That's how. I don't know if y'all didn't know that, but that's how it works. The missile goes up into the sky, and then it comes down and hit its target. It don't just, you know,
that creates more of an impact too.
Yeah, you know, it comes down, but it's really so it could avoid those defense systems. So the defense systems is all over the world. If a missile gets shot out, then it's like the Iron Dome. Missiles come out and intercept that missile in the sky before it hits the target. So what they do now is they send it out to space, so the missile systems can't detect it, and then it comes down so fast that they can't intercept it, and then it hits its target. It says, behold, it should come down upon the Edomians. So when it do come down, it's going to come down upon the Edomians again. We just read that in Ezekiel 36 that Edomium had the land appointed to them. So this missile going to come down, and the Lord is going to direct it to go straight to the people of Edom and destroy them. It says, upon the people of my curse to judgment. And this is another reason why you have Edomites pretending to be Israelites. Because they know that the Edomites are the people of the Lord's curse. And they trying to escape that curse, and they want to get their birthright back, and they want to get the promise back. But they not going to be able to. They're cursed. Which means what? This is going to be their end, no matter what they do. To judgment. So the Lord is coming back to judge the other nations, not save them. He's coming back to judge Israel too, but the difference with Israel, if you go back to Jeremiah 30, starting at verse 7, the difference with Israel is Israel could be saved out of it. It says, for the sword of the Lord is filled with blood and made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lamb and goats and fatness of kidney and rams. For the Lord has a sacrifice in Basra. So that's what it's mentioned, the blood and the rams and stuff, because it's saying that this whole land is going to be a sacrifice. The Lord, it's been so much Israelite blood with the Native Americans, the Latinos, and so-called Negroes spilled on this land, that the Lord going to make this whole land a whole sacrifice. And ain't no man ever going to dwell on this land again. It tells you that in Jeremiah 49 and Isaiah chapter 13. It says, with the blood of lamb and goats and the fatness of the kidney and rams, for the Lord has a sacrifice in Basra, and a great slaughter in the land of Edomium. It says, and the unicorn should come down with them, and the bullock with the bulls, and their land should be soaked with blood, and their dust made with the fatness, with the fat and the fatness. And everything they got in space, they satellites is gonna come down with them, and it tells you that in Revelation chapter 12 too, that they a place will be found no more in the heavens. So when they come down, everything they got in space too, all those goddamn satellites and shit, the Starlink shit, all that shit that's going into the New World system, the New World Order with the mark of the beast, all that shit's gonna come down with them to be destroyed with them. So that's why if you take the mark of the beast, you're gonna be destroyed too. Because the Lord gonna destroy all their chips. All their technology and all their chips He's gonna destroy. If you take it, then you're gonna have to be destroyed too. It says, for it is the day of the Lord's vengeance. So that means that it's going to happen when the Lord comes back, which means what? It's a false doctrine to say that Esau's already done away with. Esau's still here. He have to be here because they're the people of the Lord's curse, and they have a judgment when the Lord comes back. So he have to still be here. He hasn't been done away yet, you know, because they like to use that to kind of get out of it and say, well, there ain't no more Edomites on earth. Yeah. But it says they're the people of the Lord's curse.
Yeah, because they don't believe that he's coming back to vengeance.
And they trying to escape that. So they try to say, ain't no more Edomites. We're not Edomites. We're the Israelites. We're not Edomites. Because they're trying to escape that judgment, but they can't. It says this is the day of the Lord's vengeance and the year of recompense for the constant mercy of Zion. So the Lord's coming back for two things: vengeance and recompense. He's coming back to redeem. Salaki. I know, man. It's a strong camera, though. I'm going to get another one. Yeah, we good. It's like if y'all can hear, hopefully you fuck up the sound. But the Lord is coming back for two things. He's coming back to take vengeance on the other nations, and he's coming back to redeem his people, the Israelites. It's just that simple, you know? He ain't coming back to just redeem everybody. He's going to take vengeance on some people. And who are those people? Psalms 83.
Yeah, he's not coming back to give out hugs and kisses.
Right.
So
get that Isaiah
63.
Yep. Verse 1.
Isaiah 63 verse 1. Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments, from Bozrah, this that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength.
Right. Hold up. Right. So that's talking about when the Lord comes back.
Right.
So how is he gonna come from Edom if they already been done away with? That's talking about when the Lord comes back. That's what they gonna say. Who is this coming from Edom? Because he just destroyed them. So how could they be done away with already? That means that they already gonna be here, and that means that the Lord he's singling them out as a nation. Edom. He got a big beef with them, and they #1 on that list. Then he gonna do something to them, and he's gonna tell you what. Keep going.
I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save, wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that tradeth in the wine fat. I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me.
So the Lord gonna get the glory of all this, and it says, why is his garment red? It symbolized that it's gonna be a lot of blood spilled. That's why his garment is gonna be red. He's gonna have a great slaughter. He's gonna destroy them. That's what it's talking about.
For I will tread them in my anger, and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my remnant.
So it's gonna be a great slaughter, a great sacrifice in the land of Basra. It's gonna be a lot of killing.
It's gonna be ugly.
He ain't coming back to save everybody, man. So what could get you salvation? Just saying that, I believe? No, James chapter 2. You gotta have belief, and you gotta have works, and you gotta be an Israelite. Romans chapter 9. See.
Verse 4. For the day of vengeance is in mine heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. And I looked, and there was none to help, and I wondered that there was none to uphold. Therefore mine own arm brought salvation unto me, and my fury it upheld me. Verse 6. And
No, right there. So the Lord he said it was none to help. Why? Because the Lord gonna get the glory. He gonna get all the glory. His arm, he gonna be the power. You see what I'm saying? And it says what he's coming for, vengeance and redemption. Again, he coming to take vengeance on the nations and judge them, and the Israelites want to be judged with them. It tells you that in Isaiah 13, those that joined into them should fall by the sword. So if you're being wicked, you following their ways, and you join into them, you're gonna fall by the sword. The difference is he's coming back to redeem his elect, and it tells you that in Revelation chapter 7. He's coming back to redeem his elect, and then all Israel is going to be reborn back in the kingdom. Because once you an Israelite, that same spirit is always going to be an Israelite. You see what I'm saying? You can't be an Israelite and then come back as an Edomite. If you an Israelite, that your same spirit always going to be an Israelite. So those spirits going to be reborn back in the kingdom to be Israelites. You see what I'm saying? Now, and that's perfect. I'm happy I said that, because you are whatever your seed, whatever seed you come from. It don't matter if you an Edomite and you follow on our laws. If you an Edomite, you're an Edomite. You can't say I'm an Israelite now because I'm following the Israelites. And the proof of that is that all nations are going to have to follow us anyways. But does that mean that they're going to be considered Israelites because they're following us? No. They're still going to be called other nations. I'm about to prove it. Here, this is, Salaki, let me get this. Since it just came ahead. Because some of the, I was seeing an apostle, he was doing a video on Obadiah chapter 1, and which we're about to go into, and what they were saying is that that the Edomites are done away with, but what it means that the Edomites are going to be slaughtered, like we just read in Isaiah 34 and Isaiah 63.
Yeah.
What they were saying is that the Edomites aren't going to call themselves Edomites no more. They ain't going to live as Edomites. They're going to become Israelites.
Right.
And that don't make no goddamn sense. Because you can't have an Edomite that comes from the seed of Esau, but now he's claiming to be now he's an Israelite. No, if he comes from the seed of Edom, he's an Edomite no matter what for the rest of his life. And this proves that. This is Zechariah 14, right? Verse 16. It says, and it should come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations. So, and this is talking about in the kingdom. This is prophecy in the kingdom. All the nations are going to be considered still the other nations. They're not going to be considered Israelites. It says, which came against Jerusalem should even go up from year to year to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. So they're going to come up. They're going to have to worship our Lord. What's worshiping our Lord? They're going to have to follow him. follow our law, statutes, and commandments, and they're going to have to come up and keep our feast. The same way they making us keep Thanksgiving. You got Israelites keeping Thanksgiving, they keeping Christmas. Our laws, our statutes, our commandments, we going to force the whole world to keep them too. Because we supposed to be priests in the world. We supposed to be kings and priests. We supposed to be over the other nations and leading this world to righteousness. That's why it says the people rejoice when the righteous are in rulership. And we're going to be back in rulership, right? So this is an example of all the other nations having to follow us and follow our law, statutes, commandments anyways. But is it calling them Israelites now just because they believe and they follow us? No, it's still calling them the other nations. It says, and it shall be that whosoever will not come up of all the families of the earth. So if they don't come up, all the families of the earth, and to Jerusalem to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, even unto them should be no rain. So there's going to be a punishment if they don't keep the law, statutes, and commandments. They're going to be punished. But we know, going back to Jeremiah 31, starting at verse 31, the law, statutes, and commandments are going to be written in the Israelites' heart, so they're not going to sin no more. That's why it tells you in 1 Corinthians 11 that death is going to be swallowed up in victory. There's going to be no more death for the Israelites, because why do we die? Because sin. The same, it goes back to Adam and Eve, right? So we're not going to die anymore because we're not going to sin. Therefore, we're going to have everlasting life, incorruptible bodies, immortal bodies. It tells you that in, I'm sorry, not 1 Corinthians 11, but 1 Corinthians chapter 15. Starting at like verse 58, it tells you that we're going to have immortal bodies because we're not going to sin no more. So we're not going to die. So we know the Israelites aren't going to sin no more in the kingdom, right? So who is this talking about if they do sin, that they should have no rain? It's talking about the other nations. The other nations are still going to be considered other nations in the kingdom. Even though they believe and even though they're following after the Israelites or law, statutes, commandments, they're still going to be considered other nations. So that killed the whole doctrine that any nation could be saved if they just believe. It kills that whole doctrine. Because now we have to ask ourselves, so then what is it really about? No, it's that you have to believe, but you have to be an Israelite by blood. Like I say, I'll say it again. Because the other nations, Zechariah 14, 15, 16, 17, proves that the other nations are going to be forced to keep our law, statutes, and commandments in the kingdom. And they're going to be forced to believe. But it don't mean that it's going to call them, that it's not saying that they're going to be considered Israelites. It's still calling them the other nations, the families of the earth. Very simple, you know, very simple, you know.
But I thought Isaiah 60 and 11 was a good one too, to prove that they're going to still be the nations that they were born into.
That is a good one. Yep.
Isaiah 60 verse 11. Therefore thy gates shall be open continually, they shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles.
Right.
And I think right here, when they use the words Gentiles right here, it's actually talking about not the people of Israel who didn't know that they were Israelites, yeah. But these actually talking about the other nations,
Yeah.
And that their kings may be brought.
Right.
Yeah, so that just proves right there. That was the only one that had popped up.
What's the next verse? That's the one. Just type in. Yeah. So it shows you that they're going to be dealing with us. They're going to be working with us because they're going to be trading with us at the gates, bringing their glory to us. It proves that they're going to believe in order to do that. It proves that they're going to be in order, and it proves that, and then Zechariah 14 proves that they're going to have to keep our law, statutes, commandments, because they're going to have to worship our King, which is Yahweh Shai. And they're going to have to come up and keep the Feast of Tabernacles. You can't keep the Feast of Tabernacles if you're not following the law, statutes, and commandments. You see what I'm saying? So it proves that they're going to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, but it's not calling them Israelites just because they believe and they keep the laws. It's not saying, okay, now they're Israelites. No, it's still calling them the other nations and Gentiles. Keep going.
Isaiah 60 verse 12, for the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish.
Now it's showing you that, and this is prophecy in the kingdom. We ain't got that power yet. So it's showing you that there's still going to be other people considered other nations and stuff like that. But if they don't follow us, they're going to perish. But even if they do follow us, they're still going to be considered the other nations. That's why it says the nations that don't follow us.
Exactly. For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish. Yeah, those nations shall be utterly wasted.
Yep, that's it. So yeah, the great precept, you know, great precept by the brother. It breaks it down. All you got to do is study it for what it is. And don't lie to yourself. Don't follow a doctrine. Don't try to make it fit this doctrine. It's clear as day. I'll break it down again. It's very simple. The other nations are still going to be considered other nations in the kingdom, even though they believe and even though they are forced to follow our law, statutes, commandments. So that proves that it's not that anybody from any nation, all they got to do is believe and then they can become an Israelite. Get Revelation chapter 11. It proves that. You see what I'm saying? So you can't say, well, any nation, as long as they believe, they can become an Israelite. It don't mean that, bro. It don't mean that, because we just broke it down. It showed in the kingdom they're going to believe and they're going to follow, but they still going to be referred to as the other nations. They're not going to be referred to as Israelites now just because they believe. So what does that leave us with? Then who could actually be saved? Who is actually considered the Israelites then? Romans chapter 9, from the seed, yep.
Revelations 11, verse 1. And there was given me a reed like unto a rod, and the angel stood, saying, Rise, and measure the temple of God, and the altar, and them that worship therein.
So this is the temple of God, the same thing as the body of God, right? So they said, Rise and measure the temple of God. Measure us, and we be no man. Keep going.
But the court which is without the temple leave out.
Leave the courtyard out. Why? Keep going.
But the court which is without the temple leave out, and measure it not.
Yep.
For it is given unto the Gentiles.
Right. So it said measure it not. So there's going to be a difference. It says, look, that's given to the Gentiles. They in the courtyard, even though they believe and follow, that's given to the, but the temple, the body of the Lord, is only Israelites. By blood, by seed, only Israelites. You know, now let's get back on program. The Edomites pretending to be Israelites, right? This is Obadiah chapter 1, verse 8. Should not in that day, say the Lord, even destroy the wise men out of Edom? You see that right now. Their whole kingdom going down. They don't even know what the fuck they doing anymore. It says, and understanding out the mount of Esau, because he's destroying their understanding. Thy mighty man, O Teman, should be dismayed to the end that everyone out the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. Get Lamentations 4:21. Get out here. But everyone out the mount of Esau gonna be cut off by slaughter. You see what I'm saying? By slaughter. They got a judgment come because they want to, and this is why. It's going to tell you why. Verse 10. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame should cover thee, and thou should be cut off forever. That's why. Because their violence against their brother Jacob. What was some of the violence that they did against the so-called Negroes, Native Americans, and Hispanics, which are the true Israelites? They took our heritage. They claim to be us, claim to be the Jews when they not. They put us in slavery and bondage. To this day, they oppress our people. You see what I'm saying? Verse 18 says, in the house of Jacob should be a fire, in the house of Joseph a flame, and Esau for stumble, and they should kindle in them and devour them, and there should not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord has spoken it. So the Lord gonna come back and destroy America, which is Mystery Babylon, and he's gonna take his true chosen people, the Hebrew Israelites, so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and he's gonna give us the kingdom. And he's gonna put the people in slavery that put us in slavery.
Legs pulled out far enough?
Nope. Salaki, it be that way, but we, you know, we in it. I just hope the sound's still on, but we'll be alright. Woo! I ain't got enough weight on it. That wind coming through. Salaki. Hold on. We about to end up anyways, so it's cool. Yeah, if we can get a little breeze.
Way too, but it's cool.
Yeah. But the house of, and this is another prophecy it shows you. The house of Jacob and the house of Joseph should be a flame in the house of Esau. So what does that mean? That means Esau's still around. He ain't been done away with, because the house of Jacob and the house of Israel ain't been a flame in the house of Esau yet. Where did that happen at in prophecy? Where was we a flame? I mean, we took down the Roman Empire, but like it says we are proud that we should rebuild in Malachi chapter 1. They came back. They still here. You know, but it says, but it ends off with saying, and it should not be any remaining in the house of Esau. That ain't happened yet. And Isaiah 34, Isaiah 63 tells you that ain't happened yet. So at some point in time, they're gonna be wiped out. You know, you get that.
Lamentations 4:21.
Yeah.
Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz.
Right. So be glad. You know, walk downtown and shit. Come back here, take your pictures downtown. know, go to the Lincoln Museum and shit. Go down to this bar when nighttime hit, drink. Be glad, you know, invest in your fucking Bitcoin and shit like that. Be glad, you know. Keep going.
The cup shall also pass through unto thee.
Yep.
Thou shalt be drunken and shalt make thyself naked.
Yep.
The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion.
So we went through captivity. We had the curses put on us. Our punishment is about to be done with. Keep going.
O daughter of Zion, he will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom.
Yep.
He will discover thy sins.
So the Lord coming back to discover their sins and visit them and destroy them. This is prophecy, which means that they have to still be around when the Lord comes back and do it. The Israelites, and this is how you break it down, the Israelites are still in captivity till the Lord comes back. So it said that, look, the Israelites' captivity going to be over. When the Lord comes back. But it says at the same time, he going to visit Edom. So that means that Edom will have to be here. And then that's when you go into 2nd Esdras 6 and 9. It tells you that Esau is the end of the world. Meaning Esau will be in rulership at the end of the world. Jacob is the word that follows. You see how simple this is when you break it down and make it make sense rather than trying to follow a doctrine? Read it for what it's saying, you know. This is Jeremiah 49, the Spirit on me. Verse 12. For thus saith the Lord, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup has surely drunk of it. We just read that in Lamentations 4:21. We drunk of that cup of slavery. It says, art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished? So Esau, he's pretending to be the Israelites because he's trying to go unpunished. It says, thou should not go unpunished, but thou should surely drink of it. For I have sworn by myself, saith the Lord, that Basra should become a desolation, a reproach, a waste, a curse, and all the cities thereof should be perpetual waste. Basra is an ancient place of Edom in their land. But they are people before they're a place. So he just calling today where they're at today, he calling it after that same ancient city, Basra, which is America. That's why he call it Babylon, Mystery Babylon. It's a parable. But it's wherever they at, pretty much is going to be destroyed. He said all the cities going to become perpetual waste. That means all the cities in America going to be destroyed and become perpetual waste. You know? So with that, hopefully it's been edifying. The camp, Edomites pretending to be Israelites. You know, with that, I'm going to say salvation to the elect, shalom. We're going to give all praises to
Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakadash.
Double honors to the apostles and elders. Peace, blessings, honors, our brothers and truth. Shalom.